Warm welcome to our delegates to TTF 2026. Everybody, please make your way to the ballroom. We're about to start Bars, Restaurants and Concepts, prequel to TTF. We call it BRAC. I'm your host today, and I'm co-moderating with CEO of Soho Hospitality, Rohit. And my name is Sumi, and I'm the founder of Mrs. B, and also a bar and restaurant consultant based in Phuket. So BRAC is running its second year due to a successful year last year at TTF as well. We've changed the variety of the topic. It's inspiring gathering of people, community, and we're going to talk about restaurants, bars, and concepts, of course, and hospitality that is shaping tomorrow's future in F&B. Over to you, Rohit.
Super excited to be here. I'm the CEO and founder of Soho Hospitality. We are transforming and operating food and beverage experiences across Asia, Middle East, and Europe. A lot of exciting things happening across the industry and a lot of wonderful speakers today. Yeah, let's get started.
Fantastic. So we've got a really packed program for you, a really exciting one. So we'll start with Thai food fight. So we've got street food versus traditional and contemporary cuisine. So we've got Chef Ice, owner of Soorn restaurant, and Samantha, who wears many hats. So I have to read my notes here. So she's the director of Extrovert Marketing Consulting, BangkokFoodies.com, and founder of Vivan Grocery. Welcome on stage.
Just to say it's a huge honor to be here again this year for TTF, and particularly being right beside this gentleman, Chef Ice of Soorn, who I'm sure you all know from Soorn, and as having the first 3-star Michelin, not only in Thailand, but in the world. So that's pretty damn awesome. Woohoo! You remember that iconic moment? This is for Thailand! I'll never forget that. It gives me goosebumps. Okay, let's go straight into it. So we're supposed to be fighting about street food versus traditional and contemporary. But I think it's important to actually understand, or at least from ICE's perspective, what is the difference between those three?
First of all, I don't think it's a fight. It's a coexistence, it's a harmony of everything. So, but I would like to point out maybe the distinction between them. So, yeah. Street food is like what we grow up with, we Thais growing up with. So it's easy, convenient, comforting, and you can have it anytime. But for traditional, I think it's been there for a long time. It's look like that, it tastes like that, and you may have to sit with another company to enjoy everything. Like even street food too, they have like khao niao som tam, which is like you cannot eat alone. But street food you have like noodles and mu ping and everything. But traditional is still traditional. So it's still like between everything. So between street food and contemporary too. Okay. For contemporary, it's quite hard to point out because I think it's more like it's still the core is from Thai, but it depends on the chefs and the end produce. So you can like, okay, this is really Thai taste, or sometimes the end produce more like but maybe the other taste more creative, or sometimes it's more westernized, more Japanese, and I think it's, but it's all good anyway because like we have so many choice, more creation, but for look it up in dictionary, contemporary means in fashion. So fashion will change. So it can become like from somewhere else, but still it's Thai anyway. So we still embrace that and we're proud of that.
That's a very clear indication between the three, I would say. But when you're talking about it depends on the chef, I'd like to know, particularly with Soorn, what are the dishes
All right.
With this sort of derived from either street food, traditional, or contemporary?
Okay,
Could you
so
explain?
let's start with street food. So kola is, if you don't know, is a southern street food. It's grilled with chili paste, but it's for more children, so it's not spicy. It look red, but it's more like a little bit like curry, like children curry. So this is we do, and we don't do anything about it. We just put it on grill, but more better ingredient, and on the sauce we take a deeper approach.
So that was interesting. We talked about that earlier. So I said, essentially at Sorn, you can actually say you're serving street food.
Yes, yeah,
Something- yeah.
Because it's not in Bangkok. I want it to, because it's the best way it is. If you bring street
It's the best
food,
version of it. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
meat on steak. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meat on a stick.
All right.
All right. And how about what reflects, let's say, traditional and contemporary?
Okay, so traditional is, like I say, it's be for a long time, but the thing is, for me, it's something like you cook curry today, you use box and everything. So we went back to original. We went back to all the farmers, fishermen, and forager that they have the produce, and we learn how to use their produce, and we make the best version we could. Let's say all element, but still, presentation, taste is still tradition. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So the produce doesn't have to be traditional, but traditional in the taste sense
Yes,
makes it
like khao
traditional.
yam and gang khieu wan is, it may look beautiful, but like in South they can do like arrange everything to like to look more pretty. So, yeah, it's
Okay,
quite traditional.
what's your most contemporary dish? And I think I know which one it is. The one that
Yeah.
always blows my mouth off.
Yes, so,
I mean that.
it's we call it, I call it gan chu piang or crab stick. The thing is, it's contemporary because it's not serving traditional style, and it's invention, so it's contemporary. So the thing is, I steam 2 crab because like there's crab meat that's too sweet, and there's crab that have roll that really good with different temperature, with different herbs, so you can have like more depth. And I coat it with yellow chili paste that, okay, there's so many versions of it. I think it's like 50 versions already.
Oh,
But
wow.
always look the same, right? And put it together, and you will have like the best of the crab in one bite, and then that's it. So.
Okay, so it's really a amalgamation, a creative vision of, let's say, all of this. And that's when I come to my next question, because I know we're supposed to be fighting, but peace. So we'd like to understand, like, do they conflict with each other, or how are they working together? What, in your opinion? And you were talking about also for tourists, because we are at the TTF forum.
Yeah. I don't think they conflict each other. I think food fight is it's more like happy food fight. It's not fight at all, actually. Coexistence is so important, because if you speak about tourists, they're not going to have only street food, only traditional, or only contemporary. They come, they can experience everything. So there's not a fight at all. So if you think of it, they can have street food experience, traditional experience, contemporary experience, and they found out what they like about it. And when they have all those 3, they know that we can do more. We can offer more. And you're not even at the scratch of Thai food yet. And we're still evolving. So I think for tourists, they will come back for us because we still evolve for every category.
That's a really, really good point. Okay, and so we're just going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming. Is there anything else that you would like to contribute? Everybody that came, you'll get to come to Sorn for free, is that right?
What? What? Okay.
So yeah, just to wrap up, it's not a fight. I can see how everything that you're working towards, not just you, but chefs in the industry and your team are reflecting Thai cuisine to the rest of the world. It's really impressive working together. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thai food. Thank you.
He's for Thailand. Thank you very much. Swadeka.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and congratulations on achieving your 3 Michelin star.
Okay,
You've
thank
really put Thailand on the world map, and we're super proud, and so much innovation happening in the industry, and yeah, delighted to see Thailand progress on the culinary stage.
Me too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, forget about the food. We're going to move away from food. We're going to talk about vibes. We're going to talk about ambience. We're going to talk about how lighting, sound, interiors, spatial planning, and all of that really drives experience transformation. And today I have 2 wonderful speakers, experts in their own right. Eva, design director of Avrico, and I also have Patricia, founder of White Jacket.
Okay. Hi, hello everyone. I'm Eva, and I'm very excited to be here today. So today we're gonna talk about interior design, of course, and it's related to lighting, sound, music, and the mood. So before we started, we want to step back for a moment to talk about why all these elements are important, not only to designers, but also to the people, whoever walking into the space, because at the end of the day, you will remember the food, but you will also remember the mood even more. So the first question we have here is, let's start with the bad. What's really killing the mood? So as a designers, the first things we always look at when we walk into a venue is the lighting. So good lighting provides, hide all these imperfections and create mystery in the space. Because beauty is actually in the things that have seen. So a good example is, you don't want to go home with the strangers sitting next to you in the bright daylight, right? Yeah. So I know I won't. So I think the most important thing is when you walk into the venue, if the lighting is right, everything feels perfect. And there's a sound. So for the sound, you actually want to have the proper conversation with with your friend. So that's also very important. So these 2 things. Then how about you?
Yeah, actually, hi, I'm Patricia. Nice to meet you all. So when I was invited to this panel, I was very excited because we are going to discuss about the invisible. And the invisible layer is actually what the most important aspect in design. And my work is less about loud gestures, but it's more about evoking human emotions. I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then a quick example let's talk about pizza. So the image on the screen now is under a bright daylight. So the food feels dry and looks sad. So it's almost like a hospital food. But the mood, the image on the left is under the warm light. So it feels juicy. It almost instantly make you hungry.
Yeah, okay, so I just have a little different opinion from Eva. That's why I think we are both here. Mm-hmm. So I feel that there is no single bad ingredient in terms of, which one is a mood killer. In fact, mood is made as various components. It's almost like a plate. And we use design to kind of drive the mood. So for example, if you're in a refined or romantic setting, then light and sound is so important because you want your intimate moment and you also want that privacy. Whereas when you go to, say, a high-end location or a little bit clubby, and people already feel excited when they go in. So speaking loudly, it's not a problem at all. But when you go to, say, something like Sorn, lighting is so important because besides the mood, the food nowadays have to photograph well. So to me, I think, for all projects, each one has to have its own recipe just like an amazing plate of pad thai, for example.
And yeah, the second question, beyond the obvious. So except all these elements, what else matters?
Oh, okay. So I think besides this element, what really, really matters is the drama. And what comes with the drama is really the story. So every space has its own drama. It can be quiet, it can be loud, but what really matters to me is the story behind it. So let's say we come to, everyone knows J5. So you expect this smokiness, the wok hei, the noise, the grittiness, because it's part of the story. And this story, these emotions become a memory. Whereas if you go to somewhere more, different mood, and, we adapt, our body will kind of just go with it, and we understand what this is about. So I feel that actually interior design stages the story. So without story, drama would just be noise. However, if we have a story behind the drama, then your guests become part of the drama. And this drama will form memory. So this is, I think, to me, one of the most important aspects.
And for me, I will break it into two M's. So moment and menu. So moment, I think, is where design comes in. So it's a hard architectural envelope. Just look at its credenza. So the design is so beautiful, but what's really magical for this is how it serves the function as the satellite bar. So if it's just an empty counter, it's just beautiful. But when it gives the meaning, gives the function, it brings the life back. And then menu. So menu is the key that you have to have from the operator side. So not only from the look and feel perspective, but also from what you serve. So good operator, they don't try to offer everything. They know what not to do. So you don't want to make your menu like a thick as a Bible. So it should be very careful curated. Then the last part, we want to talk about our design insight about all these topics. So just quickly share one of our recent projects. So this is a Japanese hi-fi bar we designed recently that really kicked all the boxes. So you walk into a very dim space, and then at the end of the tunnel, there is a very welcoming host that ready to host you. And then so that's from the design perspective, the powerful of the light. And then you look at the menu, so inspired by the 90s hip hop, and then how to translate it into the drink. So that's a perfect example I want to share.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk about something a little bit different. So basically, I feel that when everything clicks is when you are at a good restaurant, you forgot about the time, you stay, nothing pulls you out of that experience, and you continue to eat and drink way more than what you expect to do. So this is the kind of experience I like to create in our work. So recently, I did my own apartment with Studio P, so I use it as an experiment. So what it is it's about creating the mood with the lighting, with the lit candle, with the playlists that go along with the food, with the island counter that opens up as a bar. Even the powder room is designed to be like a sensual and chic restaurant. And there's a vinyl player where guests get to choose, what to play and all that. So at the end of the night, I know if the space is successful, if people actually stay and they walk away with the memory, I think that's the most important part of any good restaurant design. So we're going to quickly talk about the takeaway. So I think food feeds body, design feeds the mood. And mood stays with people, and you always remember it.
So just pick your audience. Don't try to do everything, do what you do the best, and then the rest will come. Thank you.
Sorry, that's the first chicken of the day. Thank you, Eva and Patricia, for sharing your insights today about design and what's beyond the plate. People do remember food and drinks, but I think it's also important to know that ambience, how a place makes you feel, and whether or not you want to stay longer or you want to get out of there really matters, and it comes down to lighting, sound, and also furnishing and layout of the restaurants. So next on the agenda, we've got Gavin, who is the director of the food school and also the Erawan group. And today, Gavin is going to be talking about the next generation of gastronomy, which is really close to everyone's hearts. We talk about the future of hospitality and training and developing talents. So Gavin is here to share some of the insights that he's gathered from not only his students from school, but also his fellow colleagues in the industry. And he'll be talking about how restaurants have evolved and what's in store for tomorrow. Welcome on stage, Gavin.
Thank you, Sumi. So next-gen gastronomy, and I'm talking maybe more from the people side and the industry development. Just a bit of context. I went to interview some people for this, actually more than this list, but as you can see, it's included some GMs, executive chefs, very successful restaurant owners and chefs from all over Thailand, not just Bangkok, some Michelin stars, including Chef Ice, and another director of ours, Sham Tonavanik, from Dusit Thani, of the director of this food school. So these are the findings. Not everybody agrees on the future direction of gastronomy, but the findings are the ones I agree with. And I asked these 4 questions. And just for context, this is the food school. We started 3 years ago, and we combined 3 different schools into one, the best of Thai, Italian, and Japanese cuisines. And please feel free to find out more about us from there. So I've summarized the findings into 10 points. First point, don't do it. If you're going to do it, then Thailand is a good place. It's a good place to showcase your brand. But Ice, when I interviewed him, he said, look, you know, if you really hate someone, you get them to start a restaurant, and if you want someone to die, you get them to start fine dining. And I think it's more relevant, even more so today now in Thailand, because as you know now, we're one of the top 5, everyone would say we are the top 5 gastronomic destination in the world now, and it's really cutting edge now. And instead of chefs going out, we have chefs coming in from Japan, from Europe, everywhere. Michelin stars. It doesn't guarantee that they will get a Michelin star in Thailand. And that's just how competitive things are. Also, have you heard we have a stunning growth in the GDP of less than 1% last year, and will continue to be this year. And therefore, the market is really, you know, the demand stays the same, and you'll be relying a lot on international tourists. But what is new? What is new? Second point, people are drinking less, eating less, more concerned about their health, and some are taking Ozempic, so they're eating even less. And even this paper is cold pressed, so I don't know what it means, but I'm pretty sure it's healthy for me, so I'm using it, right? So this affects us even more, not just economy, but people are eating less, eating out less. What do we do? Third, and relates to marketing, everyone is tired of the noise, tired of the stimulation. We've been through that. We have had so many influencers come in. Influencers still work, but very differently now, if I'm told correctly. So they're tired of the storytelling, unless, point number 4, it's true and it's real. And I'll take it at that. Number 5, quality versus value. People come back. People really want to come back to quality now. But with quality comes costs, because to deliver quality, we need to train people better. We need to source better. And these comes with more costs, especially in a Thailand where logistics, supply system, supply chain is maybe a little bit catching up to maybe Europe or Japan. So then we have the gap between quality and value, and because of competition, people still expect to pay the same price. So what do we do? How do we win? We're no longer sheep. So I asked a lot of chefs, what is it that they need to succeed? What do they need in people? Because that's where I'm coming from. And these are the words: discipline, resilience, consistency, and character. But when I interview the students, every time they come into the school, almost every single person says creativity. And of course, you need creativity, but Ice just laughed at me before. We really underestimate how much it takes to be successful in the restaurant business. We really need a fighter in this industry. And fighting is not normally associated with Gen Z qualities. But we're not looking down on Gen Zs. How do we bridge the gap? So people say we get them in early. We do vocational training, more internships, bridge the gap between the industry and education. People say we can hire locally a bit more, so they understand the context and the culture of the industry, of the food or of the service. People say you can also source more locally, and as you know this to be true, geographic identification, it's really kind of driving the storytelling. For example, but that comes at a cost. That comes at a cost because the industry is still developing, so a Wagyu beef you source in Isan is still going to be more expensive and less consistent than a Wagyu beef you source from Australia. So what do you do? What do you do? Do you still go for these ingredients? Do you still take part in developing the industry together while absorbing the cost, training the people, trying your best to source better, to deliver better quality to the consumers? Or are we just putting it on a plate, so we say? And I think at the food school, it hasn't been proven that one or the other is a more successful winning formula in the F&B industry, but we believe that by looking at the industry as a whole and understanding holistically from the whole supply chain till you get to the customers, looking after everybody, including the health of the diners so they can come more often, that at the end will build depth, will build character, will make chefs more resilient and ultimately more successful. And that's why we've come together. At the food school, Alma, Suji, and Dusit, they're all the best in their cuisines, and in nowhere else in the world have they come together under one roof. And under these principles, they're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin, for sharing with us the perspective of how human capital is still so essential to our industry. We talk about innovation and AI and all of that, but at the end of the day, we are, people servicing people, and it's great to see you contributing to that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Gavin. And now, our next topic, this brings me to an interview with Rohit, and we're going to discuss about third space and what that means. Third space, it's not quite a restaurant, it's not quite home, not quite a working space. So let's define what that is, and being the specialist in turning spaces into a profitable venue, I'm very interested to unpack what that all means. So the first question to Rohit. So defining the third space. So when we talk about third space, in restaurants, especially private dining areas. What does that mean to you, Rohit, and why is it becoming such a critical element in F&B design today?
So the term third place was actually coined by a gentleman by the name Ray Oldenburg, but he coined it in 1980. So whereas we think it's actually a new term, it's not. It was coined a long time ago, but it's only become relevant in today's context. So the first place is your home, the second place is your office, and the third place is the white space between. Now we think of that as a physical space, but it's actually not a physical space. It's more behavioral or perhaps even emotional. It's your social space. It's the neutral, unpretentious community space. And I believe that this terminology was the catalyst for this came during the COVID pandemic, as well as digital connectivity. When we came out of the pandemic, people were very lonely, and a lot of corporates started giving hybrid work policies to their employees. So with that additional time that they had outside of their offices, they wanted to find that third place where they could spend their time. And then if you look at the context of Gen Zs, although very digitally connected, they're actually very lonely. So looking and seeking for these third spaces, whether they're social clubs or coffee shops or whatever they may be, it's an opportunity for human connection and community.
Thank you very much, Rohit. Yeah, I think pandemic did change a lot of our lifestyle, and we became more adaptable and definitely more innovative in how we become creative in space, particularly in dining areas. So let's talk about design and also atmosphere, which we touched quite upon with other speakers as well. So how do you think that restaurants should think about design when it comes to private spaces, so it doesn't feel like an afterthought, but instead it's it becomes a signature part of a guest experience? And I think this is where most planning is lacking when it comes to developing a restaurant concept.
So I think the COVID pandemic again had a real, really pivoted the way we as designers, look at spaces. Today as designers, we're always looking at spaces in terms of adaptability, and we're also looking at how we can transform these spaces into hybrid environments, right? I think that it's really important. You need to do this at the beginning. I think it's really important to understand the positioning of your third place initiative, when you're conceptualizing your spaces. I don't think it's something you can do, as an afterthought. And I think that looking at things like, design is a given, but I believe that interior design is not experience transformation. Experience transformation is an alignment of all the experiential components: interior design, branding, uniforms, tabletops, food and beverage, consulting, cocktail programming, all of those coming together. And so I think it's very, very important that we establish that positioning, and we do it in the early stages, because that's when we can align the AV, we can align the spatial planning so that it can be used in a hybrid environment.
Fantastic. So let's look at how we can turn this into a revenue generating space, and also include that in the business strategy.
I think the big thing about third places are, how can we drive yield, to the owner's balance sheet? But we have to understand that the core principal objective of third places are about frequency, retention, and community building. Now, when you look at those three things, you're going to say, how am I going to drive yield? And that's the real question. But what you can do is leverage that community building into creating frequency and retention. And then what you do is you upsell food and beverage, as a byproduct of that. But it's still pretty tricky. So Starbucks had initially developed their coffee shops as third places. And the initial strategy of Starbucks was that you could go into any Starbucks, use their Wi-Fi toilets and tables to work or whatever, and you didn't have to buy any of their products. That was the initial driver of Starbucks. But once their share price went down by 22%, Brian Nichols changed that concept, and he said that it was now only exclusive to those that were buying coffee. So it is tricky in terms of, you know, how you can drive yield, but I think it's more of a long-term play.
Fantastic. You've created a few third spaces in your portfolio as well. What are the trends that you see or opportunities?
Yeah, so we launched a place called Apartment 101. It was inspired by Roy Halston's penthouse in the Studio 54 era. And we've just recently launched it we launched it initially as a nightclub space with a cocktail bar. But we're actually now, I'm actually giving it up, but we're actually now you know, looking at turning that into a third place, and we're doing a lot of, you know, strategic work to see how we can do it. But it is complex. It's not an easy endeavor, and you know, F&B is getting more and more challenging, and there's a lot of alignment of different parts, moving parts that need to come together. So you know, it's certainly a challenge, but it's something that we're looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think with third spaces as well, you're dealing with day and night and also anything in between. That is, you know, there's a lot of moving parts that you just have to adapt and change. So it's quite challenging. It's not as easy as just turning it around. Touching upon future trends as well. So looking ahead, what do you see the role in private dining and third spaces? How is that changing? Or what's the future going to be?
Yeah. So the opportunity in the market is really about utilization, right? So we have so many restaurants, but they only open at night. And we're operating these places, you know, from morning to evening in terms of the utilization. And so you look at hotel lobbies, lack of utilization, not driving yield. You look at restaurants beyond their operating hours, not driving yield. So I think there's a lot of opportunity into figuring out how we can, you know, create these spaces as hybrid spaces. I think hotel lobbies are a great example. I mean, Accor, many years ago, decided to provide their lobby, their receptionists as places where people could come and pick up their laundry, pick up their deliveries if they were living in the community. So they wanted to service, you know, the community. I think Soho House did a great job of democratizing what was aristocratic gentlemen's club into, you know, third places all around the world. If you look at Citizen M, they did a fantastic job of their lobbies and turning those lobbies into hybrid co-working, co-living spaces. And I think closer to our home, if you look at Pad Thai Paddle, it's a paddle, you know, a place where people go to play paddle, but people now go there and play for an hour, but they're spending, you know, 2 or 3 hours there eating, mingling, and they've turned the whole thing into a community. So I think there's certainly a lot of opportunities.
Fantastic. I've got a few more questions, but unfortunately we're running out of time. So thank you again for sharing your insights, Rohit. And I think it goes to show that hospitality is evolving beyond food and drinks. And also third space is about connection. You mentioned about community and culture. So I do see this is where the lifestyle of hospitality is going. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so next, so we talked about yield and revenue, and our next speaker, the topic will be about numbers and matrices and data, where building success based on data is not just a hype, but it's also what the facts says it is. So we would like to welcome director and founder of Table 12 Consultancy. She's also the Director of Strategy and Commercial Insights for the F&B industry, Charlotte Whaley. Welcome on stage.
Thanks, Sumi. Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, my name's Charlie, and I'm the founder of Table 12, and I'm going to be talking to you about building success with data, not hype. I've got over 20 years experience in F&B. Some of the bigger brands that I've worked with are on the screen behind me now. And I've certainly chased trends and fallen for hype. So one example is a brand that I work for. We were the first to deliver a burger by drone 13 years ago. If I tell you that that shot took all day, we managed to deliver one burger. So it wasn't a viable delivery model. So I'd like to share a little bit about what I've learned about cutting through the hype and finding real value. But first, I want to tell a story that I heard on the Diary of a CEO. Daniel Priestley was in Bali, and he decided to climb Mount Agung. And so he booked a tour, the bus came at midnight, and he was hiking up this mountain at 1 a.m. Up and up he went, little head torch, scrabbling, and after, 5 hours, he gets to the summit, and it was glorious. The sun rose, and he could see for miles and miles. And then he looked to the horizon, and he saw another mountain. So he turns to the guide, and he says, well, what's that mountain? And the guide tells him, and he's like, okay, how do I get there? And the guide tells him, he goes, okay, and how much does it cost? And can I book through you? And how hard is it? And the guide stops him, and he says, Mr. Daniel, you need to appreciate the mountain you're standing on right now. And that's the point. We all get distracted by what's going on out there, by the view, by the competition, by what's trending, that we forget that we're standing on a mountain of value. And that value is your internal data. But can we be real about data for a minute? Is it a mountain of value, or does it feel a little bit more like a data lake of despair? So most of the companies I know are drowning in data. And today, with AI and automation, we can add more and more reporting, more and more dashboards, and it's overwhelming. So I want to explain that really the problem isn't lack of data. The problem is lack of insight. And now with AI and people wanting to put more and more digital in, let's add screens, let's do digital ordering, great. But how are you going to make more money out of it? And that's what I want to show you today, tangible ways that you can cut through this and make more money. So to do this, you have to get really clear. Start with the 5 key questions. What do you want to be known for? That's going to set your ambition and keep you focused so you don't get distracted by every trend and hype out there. Then, concretely, what are you trying to achieve? Now, most brands I know want to create sustainable profit alongside their brand and customer goals. Then you can set ambitious targets, metrics, and really importantly, ditch the noise. If it doesn't ladder up to what you're trying to achieve, try and get rid of it, because your teams are already too busy. So let's speed up. There's only 4 ways that restaurants make more money, right? Outside of scaling, you attract more customers more often, you get them to spend more, or you improve your price and margin, and reduce costs. I'm going to show you how to do that with 2 levers that are in your control today, and that is spend per head and margin. So let's get into it. If I look at your menu today, and I can't tell what you want me to buy, you've already lost money. Menu design and layout matters. We don't have time to get into full pricing and menu psychology today, but I'll give you a couple of quick examples. What you feature can raise your profits by up to 30%. Choose the wrong thing, and you'll literally leave millions on the table. Let me give you a concrete example. If you chose dish A in this example, you'd make an incremental 600,000 baht at a 20% uplift. If you chose dish B, you would have made 1.6 million. Same menu, same customers, different choice. You've got to let the data guide you. And obviously you need to know, this is at Menu Engineering 101, you need to know what's profitable and what's popular, and what we call your PP matrix at table 12. So before I move off the menu design side, one more thing. Think about the last time that you were in a restaurant with your friends. How much time did you really spend reading the menu, right? Too many options, over too many pages, often multiple menus. It's overwhelming, right? Every extra choice adds potential cost, wastage, and slows down decision-making. Confused customers spend less. And on the contrary, if you tidy your menus, make the journey easier for the customer, you will increase your spend per head. I know you know this, but small margin leaks have big impact over time, right? So SKU explosions, you keep adding more and more dishes, but you don't take anything off. You're not tracking your costs properly. You start relying on discounts. Those 2 together, lethal combination, and so on, right? So all of these small leaks have a big impact over time, but the data tells you where to fix it first, and it's in your control today. So this is it, your PP matrix, the single simple tool to help you drive your spend per head and margin. Right? At Table 12, we just call it the PP matrix. But this will help you know where to innovate, what to promote, what to review, delist, drop, where your pricing and margin opportunities are. Right? I did this at a hospital group, and I was able to drive their sales up by 30% on average, even though the inpatient numbers declined. It's worth doing. So very quickly, my hot picks for data deep dives. Obviously, menus. Menus in Bangkok are a bit bloated, and they need a detox. So reduce the clutter, organize the customer journey, highlight what you should highlight, and watch the sales go up. Digital ordering, this done well. I've driven up the average basket by 20% for one client. And room service. I think there's untapped value still in room service, and it's a combination of 1 and 2. So, you're standing on a mountain of value. Ask the right questions, get sharper insights, ditch the noise, and do it consistently. And that's how you'll cut through the hype and build success with data. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. As they say, the devil is in the numbers. Sometimes we're always focused on the front side of what we do in terms of all the experiential elements, but digging through the back and looking at the analytics can really help to drive yield.
Thank you very much again, and thank you to my co-host today, Rohit, for sharing the space on BRAC. So we look forward again for next year, and thank you again for joining us today. That brings us to the end of BRAC, but hang on to your seats. We will be starting TTF at 4 o'clock. But before I do that, I would like to share some of the events that we're running this year. Thank you again, Rohit.
Thank you very much.
So which is our second wellness event that will be taking place on the 19th of May in Phuket. And it's about a B2B event that focuses on well-being as well as connecting to the community and people. So it's a full day of learning. There will be also exhibition area where you connect with providers and also experts in the industry. So that will take place at Amora Beach Resort Hotel in Phuket. So get in touch. We are looking for sponsors and exhibitors as well, should you wish to be part of the event. And RISE, it's our 4th year running this event. It's about shaping the hospitality, women in leadership in hospitality as well, and empowerment. It's taking place on the 3rd of September at Sai Laguna, also in Phuket. So please get in touch should you wish to be part of this exciting event.